Good morning, friends. It's Ash here doing a little political fallout report. It's it's November the 8th, 2020. And I wanted to start this video off by playing this interview that was from yesterday, I believe, no, the 6th maybe, with Sidney Powell and Tom Fitton talking to Lou Dobbs. So let's start off with this.
Well, joining us now, Tom Fitton. He's the president of Judicial Watch. Sidney Powell, General Michael Flynn's defense attorney, former federal prosecutor, best-selling author. I want to say, first of all, thank you both for being here, and I appreciate it. Sidney, let's start with this election process. We just heard from John Solomon that the FBI indeed is being diligent, is involved, and we all hope he is exactly right. Your thoughts first about the knowledge now that the Justice Department is involved in this review of the election.
Well, I'm delighted to hear that. I think there are any number of things they need to investigate, including the likelihood that 3% of the vote total was changed in the pre-election voting ballots that were collected digitally by using the Hammer program and a software program called Scorecard. That would have amounted to a massive change in the vote that would have gone across the country and explains a lot of what we're seeing. In addition, they ran an algorithm to calculate votes they might need to come up with for Mr. Biden in specific areas. I think that explains what happened in Michigan, where the computer glitch resulted in a change of votes of about 5,500 in favor of President Trump, just in one of 47 districts. All those districts need to be checked for that same, quote, software glitch, end quote, that would change the result in Michigan dramatically. The same thing is happening in other states. We've had hundreds of thousands of ballots mysteriously appear solely for Mr. Biden, which is statistically impossible as a matter of mathematics. It can all be documented. We are putting it into materials that we will file in federal court, and we need to seek relief in multiple states to enjoin the certification of any election results.
Tom Fitton, as you listen to Sidney, that sounds like a strong case for a straightforward allegation of fraud. The two programs that she just mentioned, I'm going to ask you right now, have you ever heard of them? Because I had not heard of them.
No, I mean, there have been noises about it on the internet, but I don't know anything beyond what Sidney's reporting now. I go back to the numbers you reported at the beginning of the segment. The president was winning on Tuesday. Right. He's not winning now. And he's not winning now as a result of a process that the voters can't have confidence in, the state legislatures can't have confidence in, in my view, the courts can't have confidence in. So the question is, are the courts going to undo what went on? I don't know. But the state legislatures in Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, perhaps Arizona, they now have an opportunity to make a stand on behalf of the rule of law. Are they going to endorse what went on this week, or are they going to appoint a clean slate of electors that supports President Trump? That could be the next battle, and I would think that activists interested in this issue, and if you're concerned watching this, start talking to your state legislators. And I started asking where Congress is, because Congress, in the end, is going to be the judge of the electoral college votes. And if I were in Congress, I'd be telling these states, you better keep up on, you better be honest here, because we're not going to accept your votes if your election is a sham.
Well, Sidney, let's go back to Hammer and Scorecard. Are those the names that you just used for those programs? What's being done about it, and how broadly were they used by vote counters in various states?
I think they were very broadly used, but not by the vote counters. They were used by the forces in the Democratic operatives that had access to these programs through the government access points that they have, and used it illegally to change votes in this country. It's got to be investigated probably by the president's most trusted military intelligence officials who can get into the system and see what was done. But we do have some evidence that that is exactly what happened. And they've used it against other entities in other countries. It's just been turned recently against our own citizens here to change election results. It's absolutely appalling that that can be done. And whether it's called computer glitches or something else, somebody has actually gone into the system and changed voting results.
All right, I'm going to leave it there, guys. But you can see that there's actually several different scams going on at the same time, right? The first one is that this Hammer program goes back to other programs that were around before, right, that could get into the GEM system. In other words, if one of the poll workers who's responsible for the computer in any polling station just connects that for a brief moment to the internet, it can be hacked. And those machines, I believe, aren't supposed to be connected to the internet, but it seems like what Powell's saying is that 3% of the entire vote of the country, not a state, the country was changed, which can only be done through that GEM system, hacking into that, or whatever this program does. It's similar. And if you go back and look up the GEM system and how they hacked it years ago, there's all kinds of reports. I believe a 50-page report came out, and I forgot the lady's name who was investigating it, but I'll look into that. But this stuff is, it's hackable, man, and it's so that's one scam. If you just change 3% of the vote tally through the whole country back to Biden right off the bat, that's probably why. And then on top of that, they report only the states that he's winning, and they put him into the lead right away. So Trump was always behind. Then the states that were really going for Trump, they froze the counts there, so you couldn't count it. Now, here's an interesting thing. I can't even get onto the New York Times interactive map anymore. It's behind a paywall all of a sudden. Let me see if it still is. The last time I looked, it was behind a paywall, and you can't see the numbers anymore. See? Paywall comes up. Subscription. Keep reading. This wasn't like this yesterday. Now it's behind the paywall. You can't look up unless you unless you pay for it. So I can't look at the Times. Election results anymore. And I noticed another thing. It's every major news MSM is going along with this now. The press aren't the people that pick the president. They aren't not the people that tell you who the president is. It's the electors that are elected. They have to now go vote for this. This is far from over. A long way from over. I found another Arizona Central, because I was trying to get some results of Arizona that are still coming in. And as you can see, Trump is he even paired a little more, and he's only down 19,000 votes in Arizona right now. The problem is I don't know when any more dumps are going to come out of Arizona or Nevada. The Times was the only particular one that I saw that would update that in their little thing here. So we'll have to keep an eye on this. When 90% counted. I don't know if this is updated. I think it is, because these are the numbers I remember from seeing before, that he was down 20,000. Now he's down 19,000. This guy Jorgensen, I'm having a lot of trouble believing this got 50,000 votes in Arizona, but maybe he did. I don't know. See if we can see what's going on in Pennsylvania. He's within, 30,000, 40,000 votes? It's really close. This whole state's going to be recounted and audited, I'm assuming, because there's so many issues with different counties that, did they stop counting when they were ordered to? We don't know that. This state seems to be one of the most corrupt of all besides Michigan. Let's see, Michigan here, we have 644.7, 2.790. How do we know if those 138,000 votes, we don't know that yet. We still there's so much stuff has to go on. But this Hammer program seems to be a real problem. And you also had Wisconsin that had its own problems, and there's no more votes are being counted there. So, I think what they basically do is they said, well, yeah, you won. We're not going to count anymore. The scam's over. They finally did, seems like, give Alaska to Trump. Did they put it in his vote totals? No, still 214. They don't want to even give him Alaska. I mean, this is ridiculous. So That's kind of where we are. I think Trump won the election. I think he's going to win the election. And I think what these people are doing is they think that if we push this hard enough, you'll believe it. But when all is said and done, and again, we still don't know if there's we still don't know if there's watermarks on the ballots. We still don't know if the new quantum voting system was used and run alongside ours in tandem. But I would assume that that's what they did, because I would do that, if I was Trump's people, if I knew you were going to cheat. But this looks like there was multiple scams. You have people showing up with ballots in the middle of the night in certain locations. You have ballots being destroyed. You have ballots being printed up and then injected into the system, possibly. You have, all these different things. And Georgia Secretary of State says there's not going to be a recount, so that's a recount. Facebook deletes Stop the Steal group, enforces emergency limiting protocols. Candace Owens announces lawsuit against Facebook fact checkers. Yeah, if you have a bunch of people fact checking everything and they're all Democrats, right, and they all hate Trump's guts, how is that? How are you giving me an even newscast, an even opinion? You're just one side. What's really starting to happen, though, also I find interesting, is that people are getting pissed off at Fox News. Fox News brought in Donna Brazile and, all these people, and you can see anger grows among fans of Fox News over network's coverage. I thought their coverage was horrible. They should have never called Arizona so early, and you could really see there was, I was watching Fox for part of this night, and I could see, you could hear it in this guy's voice especially. He was ashamed. You could see it, and she to a lesser extent. But they knew what they were doing. And they knew they weren't doing it right. And you could sense that if you watched closely his features and the way he was handling himself. He was not, the whole thing was a fucking sham. Excuse my French, but that's what it was. And so what you're watching is there's two separate movies playing out at the same time, right? Which movie are you in? I'm not in this movie. I'm in the other one. So there's two competing storylines here, and I'm in New York and everybody was going crazy here. They thought it was over, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, these people don't know how their election system works. But Greg Kelly from Newsmax, everything you're seeing tonight is an illusion. Even the term president-elect is an illusion. Let's see what this guy says. I think he's correct. This thing is far from over. You have recounts that have to go through. You have court cases that have to be decided. You have several states that votes have appeared to change for one side and the other side got no votes. There's plenty to look into here. There's 3 or 4 different things.
Network is going to keep the show going, but we hear that she was suspended for this weekend and they pulled the show off the air. Joining us now to talk about this is the host of Greg Kelly Reports right here on Newsmax TV. Greg, great to see you tonight. First of all, just get your reaction to the Jeanine Pirro story.
I hope she quit because I would applaud that. Fox News has lost, in my opinion, all legitimacy. Fox News was founded as an alternative to the mainstream media. The idea that the center of the country is not Manhattan, the center of the country is not the Beltway, the center of the country is the country. It was founded and started by Roger Ailes and Rupert Murdoch with that understanding. And now it appears to me that Fox News is more concerned with what the New York Times writes about them than what the audience thinks about them. They have lost their audience. They have lost their way. And fortunately, I hope they'll come over to us because there is a major thread that's not being discussed widely. Everything you're seeing tonight is an illusion. There is no president-elect. Even the term president-elect used right now is a media fabrication. We don't have a president-elect until the electors come and actually elect the president, and that happens sometimes next month. We don't have one. This is still in dispute. The point was raised earlier that well, there's no concession, but a concession doesn't mean anything. No, a concession actually, from a media standpoint, means a great deal. Constitutionally, though, nothing significant has actually happened. I believe overall, Rob, this is yet a third coup attempt. We had Russia, we had the impeachment, and now we have this nonsense, which is so incredibly dishonest. I just urge all of the viewers out there, social media, watching the mainstream, I know the inclination. We all have muscle memory since the 1970s. I do. I'm old enough to remember turning on the network, and they say, it goes to Carter, it goes to Reagan. That's where we determine traditionally who the president-elect is. They have squandered all of their credibility. We should not listen to them. We need to resist. We need to resist that muscle memory. This is not over, not by a long shot.
Greg, what did you think of Vice President Biden's victory speech? It sounded a lot like every victory speech I've heard from a politician.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, he is a traditional, unimaginative politician.
We heard enough there. I just wanted to play that part because to make you understand that the press doesn't choose the president. They don't tell you who won. That's just how it works. So I just wanted to leave you guys with that fact that this is far from over. And there's two movies playing out here. And the question that you need to answer yourself is, which movie theater are you in? What are you watching? Are you watching the MSM and bringing your vibration down? Don't do it. These people are a bunch of liars and they've lied to you your whole life. Watch the movie play out, and if you're in the wrong theater, then sneak into the other movie while it's still playing. No one will see you. It's dark. So with that, I hope you guys have a good day, and I just tell you, keep faith in your heart, because this thing's far from over. Have a great day, friends.